Hello. Today I'm going to go over some terms. It's actually almost midnight in California. Okay, so let's start with logic. Logic is and or, right? Not, you know, I just don't see a use for not or not. It just doesn't work in good argumentation. Okay, now here's a difference in my theory. Switch. If, then, else. I call it switch because it allows you to switch between many different words. So each one is a switch. If is a switch, then is a switch. And there are hundreds of words we can switch through. It's like a slider knob with hundreds of indents on it. And you can slide the knob up and down and switch between hundreds of different words. Right? That makes sense to me. Of course, we use else whenever there is a totality argument. You know, like else and then this. I'm just having a problem coming up with examples. I will come back and redo this entire thing with examples. But, okay. Else is a finality. So when you get to A equals, if A equals B, then C equals F, else go to other variables, which is B. That's your go-to in like computer programming. Okay, so that would be like that means all those variables that you just use in the switch are excluded now, and you're using else to go to something completely different, right? Okay, then you have conditions. Conditions are people put conditions on people. If you would do this, I could do that. That is a condition. It's not if, then else. That is conditional logic. No, it has to be a switch logic. You know, so it's not logic either. Logic is just and or. We are using conditionals after that and switch. Logic, switch, conditionals. And then we have met. How we met things out, right? So we have for, by, since. Then we have because. And then we have until. Ooh, I think I may be wrong on that. But while. But you could, yeah, I gotta check on that. That may be a logical fallacy right there. But yes, in government there's other ones like heed or heath after since. And then there's a dither after that, but that's used in art. In government, we would say that we only use since, and we use it's a recursive. It's to put the argument on another line. All right. So, what am I running for? No, it doesn't work that way. So we go. I ran to the store for eggs? No, for expediting time. then that's not exactly correct, is it? Because by would be like by doing what? By running, right? So, yeah, I'm a little bit off on my rocker right now. I can't come up with any good examples. I run through examples all day, but my brain is low on water. I need refill. Okay, so, right. So what's after that? You know, it's an interesting thing. In logic, all that would be considered clave. Yeah, that would be the clave. All those things put together. Logic, and then we have a switch, and then we have conditions, and then we have the met. Okay. Yeah, you can't put met into law. Well, we would do this if you did that. We would do this if you could do that. But you don't need if, right? I could do that. Oh, I'm really screwing up today. But yeah, basically that's true. Yeah, no, I got it right. Yeah, I could do this if you would do that. Right. So we don't use that because those are conditional statements. Law always should have causality, right? Cause and effect. So it always requires usages and processes, you know, not conditionals. That's an interesting thing because, parole and probation systems are full of conditionals. And they call them conditions. Are they? Yeah. Maybe at some point they had to admit that. Maybe some plainy lawyer put that in against them. And so forevermore they're calling it conditionals. Right, but that's, okay, so we have the postulate. So what is a postulate? Well, postulating is also using the conditionals in the clave, right? We could do this. We could go to the store if you could give us a ride, right? Is that a postulate? No. If a gas station is open, that's a postulate. See, there has to be an open end somewhere for it to be a postulate. So a hypothesis would be simply using conditionals that are closed. So, like I said before, we could go to the store if you could give us a ride. If we should give you gas money, okay, I'm really having a problem right now. Okay, but yeah, you might think that the postulate, that we just made a postulate right there, but that's not true. Okay, because there's a turn in there. Okay, but there's not a completely open-ended thought there. That's a bit difficult to understand. Okay, so we come up with, we've already got the hypothesis, we got the postulate. Okay, how about query? A query is a sentence with a question in it. So, who, what, where, when, why, and how. those are questions. The query is the putting those questions into a sentence. How would I go to the store? Oh, it just dawned on me. I'm fucking up, aren't I? Basically, if you could not give me a ride, right? And that does make sense. So, what we have here is my brain's zapped, but I'm going to continue to make this video, even if it sucks. Alright, so we have the query. So is a query a postulate? I'm not sure. I have this all worked out in my brain, but I am way past my bedtime. So I'll just leave that to the viewer. Is a query a postulate? And a hypothesis? Can you hypothesize using a query? Can you postulate using a query? That is interesting. So after that we have postulates, we have hypotheses we've discussed, we have queries, we understand the questions. So all of that, now, that's something, okay, questions are not part of the clave, but you input all of those into the clave. I've already discussed this, right? So inputting all of these things into the clave, and person, place, and thing. Does it go beyond that? It really doesn't. Person, place, and thing. And the questions. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. There's an interesting one called era. That's a rare usage. I would get into that later. Okay, so we just got to get all these things defined correctly. Okay, so there's the postulate, there's the hypothesis, and I am missing the third one. I will get back to that. If you hypothesize and you postulate, then you have a third, right? Because language, the logic is tributary. There's a three-prong, right? Present, and we must answer that last prong, because those prongs are relevant to the logic in language. These people. That's another thing people don't get is, using grammar is one thing, but when you start using logic, the whole clave in grammar, there's grammar that's pertinent to just logic only. Like and if, that's never acceptable. Things like that paint you into a corner logically. And it's unfortunate that people don't get all these rules of grammar and logic. I'm licking my lips on the camera. That's disgusting. I just realized that. Okay. So, I'm going to just leave it at that. Hopefully that's informative. Thank you.